Hi, I'm Sarah and welcome to my channel. So I wanted to try doing a reading vlog, and in this video I'm going to be reading Lord of the Rings, Percy Jackson, and Powerful. Feels a little bit ambitious to try to read Lord of the Rings and 2 other books in one video, but we'll see how it goes. Also, that's Missy, she's my cat, and then I have a puppy too. And her name is Maple. Probably see her at some point as well. But for right now, let's go ahead and get into it. Got Lord of the Rings. I started this on audiobook, and I do in fact like the audiobook better than I do just reading. But I think now that I'm kind of into the story, it'll help me with actually like reading it now. So we'll see how it goes. Let's get into it. Let's try this again, shall we? Good morning. You may say, Sarah, this is the exact same position we left you in last night. Yes, but I promise that I didn't sleep here. Due to having a 3-month-old puppy who needed a lot of attention last night, I did not get very far in The Lord of the Rings, and I was getting really tired trying to read it. I brought the book with me to bed, and I laid in bed and tried to like read along as I listened to it, and eventually I was like, I'm too tired to try to listen to this and read it at the same time. So I was like, I'm just gonna listen to it. I did in fact end up falling asleep partway through the story. My friends would all be like, oh, yep, that tracks. So I will be continuing on with Lord of the Rings today. I'm gonna try to figure out where exactly I stopped. I think I was about 43 pages in. So we're gonna get going on this again today. I will update you guys as we go. Well, we are trying to get some reading in. We've got some puppy nonsense. Missy did not want to be left out, so gonna try. Hi, I wanted to give you an update on where I'm at in Lord of the Rings. Please ignore the Christmas tree back there. We just still haven't taken it down yet. But yeah. Anyway, I'm on page 176, and I am loving Merry and Pippin and Sam. I think they're like my 3 favorite characters so far. I will keep you updated though. But I just figured it was about time for an update. I'm loving the little adventure that we're on, and it's like, it's high enough stakes that it's making it like really exciting, you know? I'm loving it. Also, I feel like I wasn't expecting this whole Tom Bombadil, because Tom Bombadil I don't think is in I don't think he's in the movies. So I wasn't expecting this random character. So this has been exciting. Anyway, we're gonna keep reading. Okay, so I thought I'd give an update. I'm about 42% of the way through Lord of the Rings, the first book, and I am absolutely loving hearing some of these quotes. Like, I've heard a lot of Tolkien quotes before, like in the past, and it's really cool to hear them in the context of the story. Yeah, I just wanted to like give a quick update on that because I don't think I realized just how many Tolkien quotes I've heard before, and then I kind of just like realized over this last one, like the whole line of "not all who wander are lost." I was like, oh, that's kind of cool to hear like in the context of the story. But yeah, I'm gonna go back into it while I'm getting stuff ready for work things. Okay, I finished Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, and I'm gonna rate it 4.5 stars. And the reason why I'm doing 4.5 stars instead of like 5 stars is because it was just really, really hard for me to actually read. Like, it's very, very well written, and it's Tolkien, it's a classic, but it was hard for me to actually physically read. So I alternated between the audiobook and the physical book, and I really loved it. I have some quotes that are all kind of marked in here that I'm like, I really loved these quotes from this book. I do truly love this poem that I hadn't, like, this is like, you know, the whole "not all who wander are lost." Like, this is the whole poem. And it's "all that is gold does not glitter, not all those who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither, deep roots are not reached by the frost. From the ashes of fire shall be woken, a light from the shadows shall spring. Renewed shall the blade be that was broken, crownless again shall be king." I just think that that's like such a fun, like, it's just so cool because I'm hearing these things that I have heard in other ways. I'm also hearing things that are like, oh, I know that Tolkien said that none of this is allegorical, but there's just so many things that point towards the Bible, which I think is really cool. So yeah, I'm done with this. Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring is done. Now I'm going to try to knock out the rest of my books on my TBR this month. Those are going to go a lot faster, I think. After reading Lord of the Rings, I think I need something short and quick. Okay, so as I said, I finished Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. I'm gonna start Powerful by Lauren Roberts, the novella that's part of the Powerless series. And I think I could get most of this read today. It's pretty short. The writing is it's very small, but the like writing is normal size and lots of good spacing and stuff. So I think I can get this done today. We'll see though. Okay, so I was correct. I was not mentally prepared for this book. I cried. I have just now pulled myself back together. And I knew it was going to be sad. Because if you've read Powerless, you already know what happens to this character. But this book just makes it so much more heartbreaking. But really, really good novella. Finished it really quickly. I'm giving this 4.75 stars because it was very, very good and it definitely pulled at my emotions. And it was just, oh. I can't say much more without giving anything away, but it's very, very good. If you have not read it yet and you have read Powerless, I don't think you can actually be mentally prepared for this. Like, it's Missy wants to be part of this. She's very good at knowing when I am emotionally distraught. But yeah, so good book. We're gonna move on to something happier. And the last book for this video is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. I'm going to be reading this, and I guess I'll keep you guys updated as we go. As I said, I have read this one before. This is kind of like a refresher because I haven't actually read the series yet, so I'm just rereading this so that I can kind of get my brain back in this world again. I will keep you guys updated. So I realized I forgot to give an update on Percy Jackson when I finished The Lightning Thief, and I'm so sorry. But this book was very, very good. Also, if I sound terrible, it's because I'm sick, so I'm very sorry. But yeah, so I rated it, I think it was either 4 stars or like 4 point something. So but it was very good, very sweet, a good reread. It got my brain like kind of back into Percy Jackson and this world, and just figuring out like, okay, what's going on. I love the banter and the wit and the sass in this story. It's so fun. So, just to recap, I read The Fellowship of the Ring. This book took me 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Unfortunately, I'm not sure I'm going to make my TBR this month, just because I didn't expect this book to take me 2 weeks to read. So, this one took me 2 weeks. I did this one in about a day. Powerless, this is the next book I read. Loved it. I cried. And then Percy Jackson was great. Did not take me very long at all. I think it only took me like a couple days to read, so there you are. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick reading wrap up for the month of January, and we're gonna go ahead and just talk about each of the books that I read, and won't go too in depth into the ones that were earlier in this video, just because we already went over them. But we'll go a little bit more in depth with some of the other ones. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first book that I finished reading at the beginning of this month was not on my TBR. As I think I said before in my last video, I did not finish my January TBR. Unfortunately, I did not realize that Lord of the Rings was going to take me 2 weeks to read. And so I did not finish 8 books in the month of January. But that's okay, because I definitely think that I can still get caught up. So, anyway, I did read a book that was not on my January TBR, and this book I'd actually started reading at the end of December, and then I just finished like the last half of it in January. And that was Harry Potter, Order of the Phoenix. It was a reread. I have read this before. This is one of my absolute favorite Harry Potter books. I really love the Order of the Phoenix, and then I also really love the Half-Blood Prince. Sorry, my books are up here. The Half-Blood Prince is like another one of my absolute favorites. So these are probably like my top 2 in the Harry Potter series. Also, aren't these covers so cool? This is the Ravenclaw special edition. I bought these for myself a couple years ago as like a birthday gift for myself, and I just love them. I think they're so pretty. They have like the Ravenclaw house, like a bunch of Ravenclaw house information inside, and it's just so cool. Anyway, I read Order of the Phoenix. in my reread. And then, yeah, so these two were my favorite books. Order of the Phoenix, I went ahead and just re-rated it. I didn't fully review it because I've already read it, and so I don't see why I need to like review it again. I rated it 5 stars because, like I said, it is one of my favorites. I love that entire story and just all of the pieces and them like being like, we're gonna start fighting back, or like, we're gonna form Dumbledore's army. Like, I just think that's so fun. Yeah, so Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, 5 stars. The next book that I read was at the beginning of this video, and that was The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R. Tolkien. And I guess it's J.R.R. Tolkien. I always forget the second R. But J.R.R. Tolkien. And I loved this. As you can see, I actually put some tabs in here. Usually I only do like any kind of like tabbing in books if I really, really like the book or really like the quotes, or it's like a Christian living, like spiritual living type book, or a theology type book. So I had some fun tabs in here of different quotes that I really, really liked. And yeah, so this I actually really, really loved, as you guys saw. I think I told you I was putting it at a 4.5 star, and I am keeping it at a 4.5 star. I'm not bumping it up. I thought about bumping it up, but I'm not bumping it up. And here's the reason why. It was just so hard for my brain to actually get into it. Like, I loved the story. I loved the story. And I know that I have friends that are Lord of the Rings fans that might watch this and be so sad that I'm not giving this a 5 star. But I'm being really picky with my 5 stars now. So I'm doing 4.5 just because it was so hard for me to get into, and I had to do a lot of like audiobook listening for it to actually get into the story. So a lot of my like 5-star reads are reads that it's like, I loved the book, I just kind of was fully immersed in the world. I had a really hard time getting like immersed into the world of Lord of the Rings. But I'm hopeful that will change with the next 2 books when I get to the next 2 books. So please don't come for me. Then the next book that I read was Powerful by Lauren Roberts. And this is a novella. I needed this after reading Lord of the Rings, as you guys saw. And I'm not going to go into too much detail with this one either because you saw this at the beginning of the video. Great book. I love it. I put it at 4.75 stars. Absolutely loved it. It packs a punch for being such a little book. I can't say enough about this. As you saw earlier in this video, I also read Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, and I'm keeping this at a 4.5 star. Really good story. I loved it. Definitely, I recommend this book to anyone. This is a great book. I know that there are some younger friends who also like to watch my videos. So if you haven't read this, it's very good and it's really interesting. Like I've said before, it's about Greek mythology. This is a good middle grade fantasy Greek mythology type of book. It's fantastic. The next book that I read was The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. Now, this book is really, really cute. I really liked this book. It is an adult fantasy, like an adult fantasy romance type of book. The inside cover had said it's like a Hallmark rom-com with mystical creatures and stuff like that. And that is basically what it is. Like, this felt like reading a Hallmark rom-com. It was really cute, really fun. I liked it. And yeah, I just like, I really, really, really loved this. I gave this book a 4-star review. It was really cute, really sweet, really fun. And there were like parts of it that I was like, I don't understand why that's here. So that's why it has 4 stars and not 5 stars. But that doesn't mean that I didn't like this book. I really did. So definitely recommend this to my friends out there who like fantasy and rom-coms and specifically the Hallmark Channel. 4-star book. I really did love it. I feel like I'm like underselling it with like giving it 4 stars, but there were just some things in it. There were some things. Okay, and then the last book that I read this month was Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. So I read Once Upon a Broken Heart on the Kindle app on my iPad. I loved this book. I have now since finished the series, but I can't tell you about the other books yet because that'll be in another video. Once Upon a Broken Heart has gotten a lot of hype on like social media and TikTok and stuff like that. And I really liked it. Thank you, Maple. Maple's playing with one of her squeaky toys. Anyway, yeah, Once Upon a Broken Heart, Stephanie Garber. I really love Stephanie Garber's books. Once Upon a Broken Heart is a YA fantasy, and it was cute, it was fun. I really love the main character, and here's why I love the main character. I really love Evangeline because I feel like a lot of YA books now are just constantly like, you gotta have that like, that female main character that's super strong and she's tough and she's fighting everybody and she's doing all this stuff. But Evangeline is strong and tough, but she's also like a softie. You know, she's like a soft girl in some ways, which I think is super sweet for like the girls who really connect more with that, because she's not out there throwing daggers at people and threatening people with the daggers and swords and bows and arrows and stuff like that at every turn. But she's not helpless, she's not weak. I really love that this felt so different to me than it seems like a lot of like YA fantasy books that I had been reading recently have felt. And I would say that that's the same for like Caraval too, that they're strong. There are strong main characters that are still like the soft sweet girls, but they're still strong. They don't have to be threatening people or fighting necessarily in the same ways that people think of fighting battles, fighting wars in order to show their strength. And I think that that's really, really cool. All of that said, I gave Once Upon a Broken Heart a 4.25. The reason why it is a 4.25 and not a 5-star is because I felt like there were some gaps in things that I was like, I don't understand this, which that could be because in this world where the story is set, the Great North is a place where there's a story curse. And so there are certain stories that just always have gaps, or like people just can't seem to remember how they end, and no one is able to actually tell anyone how it ends. And there are like several different stories that are like that about the North, and that's where this story takes place. So I think that was like an intentional thing that Stephanie Garber did. There are also just certain parts of it that I think that the story is super well written, but I just didn't like within the story, that I was like, come on. But also, the dedication for Once Upon a Broken Heart literally says that this book is written for anyone who's ever made a bad decision because of a broken heart. And I think that's why this book like resonates with so many people, and why so many people are loving it, is because there are a lot of people who have made a lot of bad decisions because they've had their heart broken. I've made some bad decisions with my heart broken, but I feel like this story is so good. It's so good. There were just like a couple of gaps in things that I wanted filled in. Definitely recommend this. Great book. With that being said, I did only have one 5-star read last month, and that was Order of the Phoenix, which was a reread, and I already knew that I really loved. I think we can still count it as a win. All the other ones did pretty good still, though. I mean, we've got nothing below 4 stars. So pretty good reading month. Any of these books that you're like, I want to hear more about them, or anything like that, feel free to let me know. Or if you have any like book recommendations or anything that you think that I would be interested in, let me know. I think here's where I'm going to end all of this. I hope that you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, evening, whatever you're doing. I hope you're having a fantastic time, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.